Good afternoon, I'm Dwayne Kirkman, Sports Information Director here at West Virginia Wesleyan College, and joining me for the Baseball Coaches Corner is head coach Randy Tinney. Randy, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me on.
This is your first Coaches Corner, welcome. So we're eager to get outside and see some baseball here. Problem with that, there's still 2 or 3 inches of snow in your field. We've had a terrible winter. How has that hampered your team's effort to get ready for the season?
Actually, not as much as you might think. I mean, obviously we'd rather be outside, but it's it's typical February weather, and you get used to it. The green room allows us to prepare better than most, so I'm comfortable with it, and we don't feel it's really hampered us.
Okay.
We did lose 3 ball games last weekend, but given that, I mean, many years we've opened with our first games in Florida, and that's a way to end up again.
Okay. You're heading to Florida. When is your team leaving? Thursday or Friday?
We leave Thursday night at 8 p.m., travel overnight, have a practice Friday evening, and then we open up on Saturday.
Okay. And could you talk a little bit about your spring break trip and some of the teams you'll be playing? What type of schedule is it this year?
It's all Division II teams. We will have 10 varsity games and 9 JV games over the period that we're there. And with the way that things have kind of developed within the NCAA, you try to find a location where you can go and play Division II opponents. We used to, this year in Winter Haven, we used to go over to Ormond Beach. We went to Jacksonville. We used to go to some various places. A lot of NAI opponents, Division II, Division I's, kind of a variety of teams. And then it got to the point of where the NCAA requires you basically to play Division II teams where you were penalized.
Right.
So this works out well for us. There are junior colleges that are there. There are other 4-year schools that have JV programs. So it's a very good fit for us, and the competition is very good.
You talked about 9 JV games. How important are those games? I know you've got a large team and a very young team again this year. How important is it to maybe find a diamond in the rough that can step up and help the varsity team on the spring break tour?
It's extremely important because early in the year you're trying to find the varsity lineup that you want to use. So it gives you extra opportunities to see your pitching, to see your position players, and it's it works very, very well. I mean, I've often said that players can only develop so far by watching and observing.
Right.
It's the playing time that they have to have, and it's the old thing, you can only play 9 at a time. By playing JV games, so we get to see basically 18 players out there, 16 position players and a variety of pitchers. So it works very well, and I think the players like it. It's a very busy schedule, but we raise the money for that trip, and it's we want to get the most out of it baseball-wise.
Right. Now, last year your team missed the playoffs by, I believe, 1/100th or 1/1000th of a rating point. Is the team using that as a motivator at all this year to get back into the playoffs?
I don't know how players view it. I mean, a player's view, I believe, is different than a coach's perspective. I really felt that we should have been in the playoffs a year ago. There were a couple of things that didn't go our way. We lost our leading hitter with 3 weeks to go in the season, which didn't help us.
Right.
Then because of the makeup policy, there were some games that were not played that actually ended up working against us. We've played out our schedule, but some of the other teams didn't, and because they didn't, and it is a power rating system, it actually worked our disadvantage. But that's the way it's set up. You live with the consequences. We had opportunities to win ball games at times and didn't. So in the end, we finished 3rd.
Right.
And that was not good enough to get us in the playoffs. So, is a motivation for this year. I mean, it certainly is for me. But the reality of it is, baseball is it's a 50-game schedule. If you're going to appear in the regionals, you have to do well over that 50-game schedule. To get into our conference tournament, you basically have to do well within your division.
Right.
So there's 2 different goals there that you can have, and my goal is to win as many games as possible, so that if we are fortunate enough to get into our playoffs, we're also in a position to get a bid to get into the regionals as well. So.
You talked about the division. Wesleyan plays in the Central Division. Baseball is broken down to 3 divisions, 5 teams each. The coaches picked Wesleyan as the preseason favorite to win the Central Division. What does that mean for your Cats?
I mean, actually, I was surprised at that because D&E a year ago, I mean, Fairmont won it, but they've graduated several people.
Right.
D&E has everyone returning, and they were the ones that finished 2nd. We have a lot of people coming back. We still only have 1 senior, but we have a lot of experience coming back. So, I mean, I think that you look at it on paper, and that bodes well for us. But D&E is very strong, and AB will be very competitive as well because they were right behind us a year ago. They were basically one game from getting into playoffs,
right.
one win with the power rating system. So it's interesting to kind of see how things unfold. But if you look at it on paper, it would be probably between D&E, AB, and ourselves.
Right.
Fairmont could maybe view that as a rebuilding year, but again, they've got a big squad over there, and if they've got the right recruits and the right match, right. They can be right in the mix as well. So.
We would say pitching wins baseball games. You've got one of the best pitchers in the WVIC, and Simon Zingo. Could you talk a little bit about how he's prepared in the offseason, and could you talk about how your staff is working around him right now?
Well, right out of the gate, we lost one of our starters from a year ago, Chris Blankenship. He's only a junior, but he's a nursing major, and because of the clinical responsibilities he has to fulfill, he basically has to sit out the year.
Right.
So we lost one of our 4 stars. We graduated another one, Tyler Ferris, from a year ago. So we're trying to replace 2 spots, really, not just the one that we graduated. But Cy, he's been I guess the rock of our pitching staff, really, his freshman and sophomore years. Around him, we have Kevin Holdsworth, we have a freshman, Chad Madomo, Ross Ware. We have several of these guys that have had experience, and basically we have to depend upon them to step up and fill those 2 voids
right.
that we have in our starting rotation.
I know offensively, Corey Flickinger and Matt Coker have been getting a lot of preseason attention just based off their past production. Could you talk a little bit about those 2 and how you're going to perform offensively?
Well, Corey, again, he's one of the juniors in this big junior class we have, coming off 2 good years,
yeah.
Getting conference recognition in both. Matt Coker last year was the first year with us. He transferred from Davis and Elkins, and he had a nice year for us as well. They're the kind of guys that will have to, hit somewhere in the middle of the order, drive in the runs. They're the guys, again, that you have to depend on game in, game out, and then build your lineup around that, your batting order. So, they're certainly are capable of doing some good things for us, but when you speak about offense, it's really about pitching and offense and defense, and in order to have success on a year, you've got to have some balance in that. And a year ago, 2 of the 3 would show up on a given day, and the third one wouldn't, and consequently we lost some ball games we just shouldn't have. But that we're searching for consistency, and that's what the spring trip's about. Out of the 10 ball games, I don't know what a satisfactory record would be. I think that what I search for more than anything else is to know what our lineup's going to be once we get back, because then we get into the meat of our conference schedule.
Okay. Coach, is there anything else you want to add?
Nothing other than we're looking forward to it. You can only prepare so long before you have to play and kind of find out what you have to work on. And we're looking forward to it. And come Saturday at 2 o'clock in Winter Haven, Florida, we're anxious to get it started.
All right. Well, best of luck on your spring break tour. We'll get back with you in a couple weeks and see how everything went.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
All right. For Randy Tinney, I'm Dwayne Carpenter. We'll see you next time on the Baseball Head Coach's Corner.